Today I'm going to discuss teen pregnancy in Texas. This is presented by Tanya, Shante, Evelyn, and me, Tabitha. This presentation is going to briefly discuss the issue of teen pregnancy in girls ages 15 to 19 years old located in Texas, with a focus on the Hispanic population. Though Texas doesn't have the top spot for teen pregnancy rate currently, it has the potential to soon take over that number one spot. With a fast-growing Hispanic population, there is a high concern for an overwhelming number of impoverished teen mothers and babies in the state. Though teen pregnancy rates have been declining in both the United States and Texas, we are certainly not out of the woods on this issue. Texas holds the 5th spot for teen pregnancy while ranking 3rd when it comes to actual births. The amount of money spent to care for these teens is staggering, passing the $1 billion mark. To exacerbate this problem, in the next 3 decades, the population of Texas is expected to double, with a 45% increase in Hispanic adolescent females. This is a concern because Hispanic females have the highest pregnancy rate of all ethnic groups in Texas. And with that big of a population increase, even if the pregnancy rate stays the same, the actual number of babies to young unwed mothers will rise. Many of these mothers are unable to pursue higher education due to their situation and often live in poverty. This puts a huge strain both on the state and federal aid programs. In Texas, 21% of the teen mothers are white, 14% are non-Hispanic Black, 1% Asian Pacific Islander, with a whopping 65% of those mothers are of Hispanic descent. With the increasing Hispanic population, we will likely see Texas's pregnancy rates begin to rise again. Perpetuating this problem, 21% of Texas teen mothers go on to have another teenage pregnancy. This repetition of undesirable behavior needs to be addressed. 86% of teen mothers are unwed and therefore often lack both emotional and financial support systems. These babies often grow up without a family unit, which has been shown to be a detriment to children as they grow, reducing the likelihood that they will become successful adults. 49% of 15 to 19-year-old girls admit to having sexual intercourse. However, only 13% are on birth control. The high incidence of sexual activity and low use of birth control measures are obviously a real concern in this situation. When addressing the 2 essential services in the assessment portion of this issue, we need to continue to monitor the health and pregnancy rates for teenage girls in Texas so we can correctly identify specifically what factors we need to focus on. Currently, Texas monitors these issues through a CDC-sponsored program called PRAMS, which is Pregnancy Risk Assessment Monitoring System. We certainly need to focus attention on the essential service, diagnose, and investigate as well. Why are Hispanic girls so much more likely to get pregnant? Are their fertility rates higher because they're not given the same information and access to birth control methods? Is it a cultural issue? Or is it because they are perpetuating the same lifestyle they grew up in? Texas recently passed a law that no longer requires sex education classes in school, even though that has been proven to show success at reducing teen pregnancy rates. Why are we eliminating the programs we need the very most? We definitely have plenty of work to do when it comes to policy development. With the expected growth of the Hispanic adolescent population, which has the highest weighted average contraceptive failure rate, coupled with large proportions of sexual activity among the population, this creates a demand for the development of culturally appropriate adolescent pregnancy prevention programs tested among and tailored for Hispanic adolescents. Such programs as the one listed in this slide were developed just for this purpose. Implementation of these evidence-based sexual health education programs has helped the state of Texas to delay the initial sexual encounter, reduce the frequency of sex, reduce the number of sexual partners, and increase the use of condoms and contraceptives. Everyone knows the most common and effective ways to prevent teen pregnancy and pregnancy in general are through abstinence, and if you are sexually active, use of condoms and birth control for young men and women respectively. In Texas, the laws promote parental involvement as a way of prevention as well. State law mandates that the parent of a child under the age of 18 years old must have parental consent prior to receiving contraceptives from a state-funded facility and/or program. Due to the important role parents play in the lives of Hispanic youth, this type of law can be very effective. Another Texas state law mandates that the health education no longer be a part of the required high school curriculum for students. The most effective leaders who will help with the development of these policies are the parents, educators, and the teens themselves. Research regarding pregnancy within the Hispanic community confirms a few things. First, parents play an important and very influential role in the lives of their children. Second, in Texas, Latino students are less likely than white or black students to receive the most basic sexual health information on HIV and AIDS. 1/4 of Latino high school students reported never learning about HIV in school, compared to 11% of white students and 11% of black students. School teachers need to be allowed to educate these teens on the basics of prevention. Once a teen starts to have sex, it is very unlikely that they will decide to become abstinent. So the best thing to do is to educate them so they can practice safe sex. Not allowing them to do this only hurts the demographic in the long run. The essential services are key to solving the problem of the increasing Hispanic teen pregnancies in Texas. Perhaps the most important essential service is to inform, educate, and empower this at-risk group of young women. We must make sure these young women are informed about their choices and their options. If they know what risks are to certain behaviors, as well as where to get counseling, education, and tools to help them through this time in their lives, they will know what to do and where to go. A common factor in the highest areas of teen pregnancy rates is that they have the lowest rates of education about the issue. We need to start with age-appropriate sex education in childhood and continue through adolescence and early adulthood. Information is key to successful outcomes in any endeavor, and especially when it comes to sexual behavior. Empowerment is also extremely important for these young girls, especially. It is often the feeling that they have no control over their destiny or that they are not worth anything that leads them down the road to pregnancy. If we make these girls feel like they have the power to decide their future both today and 10 years from now, they will be more confident in making the right choices to get there. Mobilizing community partnerships will ensure that there is enough community and financial support to carry out the implementation of policies and procedures needed to help the youth in our community. It's important everyone feels a sense of responsibility for these children and that everyone realizes they can, in some small or big way, make a difference. This is especially true when it comes to certain key places. Programs that support families must also realize family involvement is key to keeping these girls from either having sex to begin with, or when they do, making better choices about contraceptives and partners. Having an open line of communication with parents makes a child less likely to engage in sexual activity. The church can also be a very powerful factor in the lives and decisions of our youth. Local businesses can help by volunteering or donating money to local organizations that support this cause, and law enforcement can also be a key by effectively reducing rates of underage drinking and drug use, as those factors increase teen pregnancy rates. Developing policies will be detrimental to bringing down pregnancy rates for Hispanic girls in Texas. Currently, Texas relies primarily on abstinence-based programs, which have been shown to be very ineffective, not to mention that once a teen does become sexually active, they are very unlikely to revert to abstinence. Texas has also changed the law so that sexual education is no longer required in the classroom, and has some of the most restrictive laws about teens being able to access contraceptives, requiring parental consent. This leads us to the concept of new policies that might be implemented in Texas. The following are suggestions we have to reduce teen pregnancy rates in Texas for the Hispanic population. Sex education in our school systems has been shown to be a key factor in bringing down pregnancy rates. These need to be made mandatory requirements for all schools in the state of Texas. More funds should be allocated to programs that support family systems with a focus on sex education and sharing of information between parents and their children, as this is a big factor in the age that a child decides to become sexually active. Giving women a sense of pride and self-worth has been proven to reduce the likelihood that she will become sexually active or pregnant. Creating after-school programs that develop skills and talents, offering assistance in finding teen jobs, and making them more marketable to the workforce while providing extra assistance and education is key, as dropout rates in poor education are linked to increased pregnancy. Building self-confidence will create favorable outcomes not only in teen pregnancy, but also in overall societal contributions as well. Increasing availability of police officers to manage underage drinking and substance abuse will have a direct effect on teen pregnancy rates, as these factors have a strong correlation with this issue. 30% of teen pregnancies were associated with substance abuse at the time of conception. And finally, one of the most impactful areas is creating policies that make contraceptives easily accessible to teenagers without requiring parental consent. Teens will be much more likely to use birth control or condoms if they can be accessed easily and anonymously. Thank you for your time.